Space feels eternal. It stretches beyond every galaxy, surrounds every star, and provides the invisible stage upon which the entire universe exists. We rarely think about it because it appears empty, silent, and permanent. The what if space is not eternal? What if it can weaken, decay, and eventually die? According to some of the deepest ideas in modern physics, there may come a moment when space itself begins to fail. Not the objects inside it, but the fabric of reality that holds everything together. This is the moment space itself starts to die. For thousands of years, people imagined space as an endless empty container. Stars, planets, and galaxies simply floated inside it. Then, in the early 20th century, Albert Einstein completely changed that picture. His theory of general relativity revealed that space is not an empty background. It is an active part of the universe. Space can stretch, bend, ripple, and curve. Massive objects like stars and black holes distort it, creating what we experience as gravity. Imagine placing a heavy metal ball on a stretched rubber sheet. The surface bends beneath the weight, causing smaller objects to roll toward it. This simple demonstration captures the basic idea of curved spacetime. The sun does not pull Earth through an invisible force in the traditional sense. Instead, it bends spacetime, and Earth follows that curved path. Every planet, moon, galaxy, and cluster of galaxies moves through a universe whose geometry is constantly changing. Even more surprising, space is not standing still. In 1929, Edwin Hubble discovered that distant galaxies are moving away from one another. This observation led to one of the greatest discoveries in science. The universe is expanding. Galaxies are not flying through empty space like bullets through the air. Space itself is stretching, carrying galaxies farther apart as the cosmic fabric grows larger. For billions of years, this expansion has continued. Scientists once believed gravity might eventually slow it down, perhaps even reversing the process in a future collapse known as the Big Crunch. But observations at the end of the 20th century revealed something completely unexpected. The expansion is accelerating. Something mysterious is pushing space outward. This unknown influence has been given the name dark energy. Today, dark energy appears to make up nearly 70% of the total energy content of the universe. Yet no one truly knows what it is. We observe its effects, but its nature remains one of the greatest mysteries in modern physics. Some theories suggest dark energy will remain constant forever. Others predict that it may grow stronger over time. If that happens, space itself could become unstable. Imagine the expansion increasing year after year, century after century, and then, over trillions of years, becoming so powerful that gravity can no longer hold galaxies together. The enormous structures that survived since the early universe begin to separate. Spiral galaxies lose their graceful arms. Elliptical galaxies slowly dissolve into isolated stars drifting through an ever-growing darkness. The expansion does not stop there. Eventually, entire solar systems become unstable. Planets drift away from their stars as the fabric of space stretches faster than gravity can resist. Worlds that once circled peacefully for billions of years disappear into the emptiness, forever isolated from every source of light. As dark energy continues growing stronger, the destruction reaches even smaller scales. The force stretching space begins overcoming electromagnetism, the interaction responsible for holding atoms together. Molecules break apart. Chemical bonds vanish. The structures that make oceans, mountains, living cells, and even human bodies simply fall apart. Then comes the unimaginable stage. Atomic nuclei themselves begin to fail. Protons and neutrons can no longer remain bound together. Matter dissolves into fundamental particles. Every object that has ever existed loses its structure. Every memory of galaxies, stars, planets, and civilizations disappears into an expanding sea of isolated energy. Physicists call this hypothetical future the Big Rip. Yet some researchers believe an even stranger possibility exists. Perhaps space does not merely stretch until everything separates. Perhaps the fabric of space itself begins to decay. Quantum theories suggest that empty space is not truly empty. Hidden beneath what appears to be a perfect vacuum are quantum fields fluctuating continuously. Tiny virtual particles appear and disappear every instant. Space is alive with microscopic activity invisible to our senses. If the vacuum is only temporarily stable, then space may possess a hidden weakness. Somewhere in the universe, a quantum fluctuation could trigger a transition into a lower energy state. A tiny bubble of altered space would suddenly appear. Inside this bubble, The laws of physics would no longer match the universe we know. The strengths of the fundamental forces could change. The masses of particles might become different. Atoms could become impossible. The bubble would expand outward at the speed of light. Everything it touched would be rewritten instantly. No civilization would have time to react. No telescope would detect the approaching boundary. No warning could ever arrive before the end itself. One moment, reality would appear completely normal. The next, space itself would have entered a new state where the familiar universe could no longer exist. This possibility is known as vacuum decay, and while there is no evidence that it will happen, it demonstrates something extraordinary. Space is not just emptiness. It is a physical system with properties that may change under extreme conditions. The moment space itself starts to die would therefore be unlike any disaster humanity has ever imagined. It would not be the destruction of stars or galaxies alone. It would be the failure of the invisible foundation that allows distance, motion, gravity, and existence itself. When space finally loses the ability to support reality, the universe would not simply come to an end. The stage on which every event has ever unfolded would disappear forever, leaving behind a mystery beyond the reach of physics, time, and imagination.